Feeling good, feeling great. Feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome into Timeline T. I am your host, D. Sam D, aka Sid Duzme Jr. 8:30 tonight. Are you locked in? Are you ready yet? NBA Finals, the 2023 NBA Finals tips off tonight. The Miami Heat travel to Denver to face the Nuggets. A lot of people saying Nuggets in 4, Nuggets in 5. How can the Heat, how can Eric Spoelstra cook something up for Joker and Jamal Murray? We'll try to get into it. It's a lot of media news this week. Your man's McAfee bag confirmed with the 4-letter network. That means he left FanDuel. That also might explain why a certain popular ex-football player, much like Pat McAfee, just left a national syndicated sports talk show. Just saying. Let's connect the dots. What up, Unc? Detroit basketball is back. They're certainly paying Monty Williams like it is. It's a lot of bread for a coach that I feel just straight up isn't that good. We'll get there. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to drop that like, and if you haven't subscribed, tap in, support the brand, support the channel, support the movement by hitting the subscribe button. Navigating how to get the content out for the NBA Finals tonight. Watch along probably won't happen, but maybe a little bit of a live stream post Game 1. Stay tuned. It's another reason to subscribe, by the way. Also, tap into the DCD podcast. Link for that is in the description. Might be doing a simulcast where we're on the podcast and we're here on the YouTube live stream. Navigating it, we'll figure it out. All right, speaking of which, let's go ahead and see if we can get into the brain of one Eric Spoelstra. How the hell do you stop someone who should have been a 3 straight MVP? How the hell do you stop someone who potentially could be the best shooting guard, depending how the outcome of this series goes and his performance in it, could be crowned as the best shooting guard in the NBA? And yes, I know you could give me Jimmy Butler, but to me, Jimmy is and will always be a 3. If you watched him from his days in Chicago, you know he's a 3. And even Basketball Reference foolishly has him as a 2, as a shooting guard in Chicago. That never happened. He backed up Luol Deng. Luol Deng was a 3. And when Luol Deng moved on, Jimmy moved right into his position at the 3. So you want to tell me Jimmy's a 2 now? Cool story, bruh. But I've seen his movies before. That man's a 3. So, how, if you're Eric Spoelstra, do you stop the 2-time, should be 3-time NBA MVP and arguably the best shooting guard in the NBA? They tried to stop Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown with a matchup with a mix of matchup zone, doubles, traps, and then, realizing Jaylen Brown can't dribble with his left hand. Let's just go ahead and exploit that. So, if we're down to just that, is there anyone on this Nuggets team that you can exploit like how the Heat exposed Jaylen Brown with the left hand? The problem is no. Jokic can do it all. He's a point center. Jamal Murray is a dynamic, exciting wing player that is upper tier shooting guard in this league. Then you have Aaron Gordon, who historically has given Jimmy Butler problems. Okay? See, these are the matchups within the matchups that people aren't really talking about. Aaron Gordon historically has done very well against Jimmy Butler. Again, going to the narrative of Jimmy Butler being a 2. He's not a 2. If Aaron Gordon's guarding you, you're not a 2. You're a wing. Anywho, then you have to look at the role of the bench players. Caleb Martin versus Bruce Brown. Who would have thought that a Larry O.B. could potentially come down to who is hooping crazier, Caleb Martin or Bruce Brown? Because if you're the Heat, I think you have to let Jokic go crazy. Let him go do the 53-point triple-doubles like he did against the Lakers, and they lost those games, by the way. So that's the key if I'm supposed to. Let Jokic get his. You can't let him go out there and give you 30, 16 assists, and 13 rebounds. That's the game you cannot have from Nikola Jokic if the Miami Heat are trying to win this series and win this Larry O.B. Can't happen. Absolutely, positively cannot happen. Because the problem is you're going to let Jokic do whatever he wants. You have to try to take away or eliminate or make it difficult for him to do one thing in his skill set. If that one thing, if I had to pick that one thing, is not the scoring, let him get his. For me, it's going to have to be, let's try to eliminate the passing, the facilitating. How can we stop him from doing that? Let's go ahead and go into the screen. We're going to go ahead here to the screen, and you see, we have the matchup is here. The series stats is nothing here yet because the games haven't been played, but let's go ahead and jump right into the Denver Nuggets and what they've been able to do with Nikola Jokic, and specifically with Nikola Jokic in these playoffs. No team has figured him out. I'm not sure if you can figure him out, but if we want to navigate his last 5 games, all wins, by the way. He's got 1 triple-double, 2 triple-double, 3 triple-double, 4 triple-doubles in his last 5 games. Okay? That's where he is a matchup nightmare. How do you stop someone who rolls out of bed and is a walking triple-double? And none of these are in blowouts. Well, except for that last game against Phoenix. And that was still 32, 12, and 10. That's the problem. It's the abundance of assists. The abundance of assists. 13 assists, 12, 14, 12. That's where Nikola Jokic is operating. And none better than, let's see if we could pull that up here. And yeah, excuse me, that 53-piece triple-dub was against Phoenix, not the Lakers. I always confuse that. Lakers was a sweep. Where are we at here? He's got to be averaging a triple-double, right? 30 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds. Bam Adebayo's got nothing for this. Bam Adebayo has nothing for this. So you let him get his points and you try to limit his playmaking. Because if you lock in on his playmaking, let's go to the shooting. And you see here in the playoffs, 47% from 3 in the playoffs alone. 47% from 3 in the playoffs. And if you want to do the whole thing where it's home cooking, it's not. It's not. On the road, he's shooting better from 3 than at home. 39% at home, 43% on the road. I don't know what you do with him. And it's really something where whatever Spo decides to cook up, and good Lord, again, we always look at this shot chart when it comes to Jokic. You see where he's operating. He's in the paint. Even the misses, if you just look at the misses, a lot of the misses are in the paint. Yeah, he's taking threes. The majority of his threes are from the top of the key. But then you have the middies. He's not afraid to take those. And then he's just eating in the paint. So now if you're the Heat, do you collapse? Do you try to do like the Lake Show did, where you don't have your man's Bam Adebayo D him up one-on-one? Maybe you do a little collapsing defense. Maybe you do a little collapsing defense to where, maybe you start off with, let's see. Who do we want as a wing? Who could be expendable? Let's see, who do we have that's expendable? All right, if I'm the Heat, I think you go Strus or Caleb Martin. If you want to deploy this strategy, you go with Caleb Martin or Strus, right? And you have them start off on Joker, right? You let Joker see Caleb Martin and Strus. Now, he's going to think it's Swiss cheese, and it can very well be. But then you have Bam Adebayo on that weak side to come trap. That means you're probably trapping off of Aaron Gordon or maybe Michael Porter. And that could be a problem where Michael Porter could be open with threes, or Aaron Gordon could be, going to the rack and finishing strong at the cup. You don't want to double off of, definitely don't want to double off of Jamal Murray. You definitely don't want to double off of, all the dynamic wings that they have. Even Bruce Brown at this point. Bruce Brown, we'll see how they behave, how they play after a long-ass layoff, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Spo tries to decide what to do with Nikola Jokic. Magic Man in the house, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you pulling up. Salute Monty. Yeah, Monty got the bag of bags. That's the only way to get him to go to Detroit, right? That's the only way to convince him to go to the D. What up, what up, what up? What time is the finals? 8:30 tonight. 8:30 tonight on the East, if you're on the East Coast, 8:30. I've got not one, but just 2 subs with my friend. Hey, salute. Appreciate that. The more the merrier. You know how we get down. We're going to be doing a live stream in the post game. Live stream after game 1 tonight. We'll be live here. So make sure to pull up. So we're trying to figure out, Magic Man, we're trying to navigate what does Spo do tonight? Because he doesn't have the size on this roster, right? Even on the bench, unless you want to dust off Haslam, I doubt they'll do that. Maybe you go with Kevin Love. Maybe you put him in the starting lineup to match up with the size, because the interesting thing with the Nuggets is that they have a really big size advantage, not just on Miami, but that size advantage really showed its face when they played the Lakers. Like the size of Aaron Gordon, the size of Michael Porter, the size of obviously Jokic. That gave the Lakers problems, and the Lakers thought themselves to be a big team. But the Nuggets, with the wings that they have and then the bigs that they have and the dynamics of all the interchangeable parts, that's what really set them apart to get the Lake Show up out of here in a sweep. So if you're Eric Spoelstra, who is entering that tier of, if not the best coach in the game, top 2, what does he have in store for Nikola Jokic? They got swept by the Nuggets in the regular season. And it was pretty academic. It wasn't even anything that special. Joker didn't go crazy in either game. He got a triple-double in both games, I believe. But, unfortunately, if you're Spoelstra, you might have to zone this up. I don't know if you could play Kevin Love in this series. Because who's he going to guard? You can't guard him against Joker. He's got the size to, at least, lean on Joker. But he can't do anything formidable against Nikola Jokic. So Kevin Love's probably unplayable. Haslam never plays. Are you going to dust off Cody Zeller? Are the Heat going to be so down bad that they're trying to get some Zeller minutes? That's another thing to watch for. I'm trying to cook up a way of how the Heat can beat the Nuggets. And looking at this roster compared to what the Nuggets have, I'm having a hard time seeing it unless you're telling me. Now, Michael Porter is a role player. He plays better at home than on the road. Now, if you get a stinker of a home game from Michael Porter, he doesn't play that well on the road. Like, you're going to have things like that where guys who normally play well in certain stances do not play well. So it's going to take something like that. Magic Man got the Nuggets at 5. So, yeah, I'm pretty much on that same wave. I also have the Nuggets in 5. Gentleman's sweep. But I'm really trying to navigate how Spo can do this. He's fooled us all the way here. We gave him no chance against the Nuggets, and we know why. We gave him no chance against the Bucks, and we know why. Even with no Giannis for 2 games, we still didn't give him a chance. I knew they were going to beat the Knicks because the Knicks are the Knicks. And then the Celtics was a crapshoot depending on what Celtic team we got. And we only got a good Celtic team for, honestly, 2.5 games. But with this series right here, I can't paint a scenario of how they win. I just can't. I don't see it. Looking at, their let's go to their last game. Yeah, I don't know what Miami can't do nothing about. Let me pull up the telestrator. It's on red. Okay. And it's on arrow. Cool. Joker, they can't do nothing with that. They can't do nothing with Jamal Murray. I think they're pretty good against Michael Porter. I think the issue is if you double off of Joker, that's going to leave, you're probably going to double off of him with another big because you can't leave Jamal Murray open and you can't leave KCP open. So you're going to have to double off of Michael Porter or Aaron Gordon. So either you're going to depend on Aaron Gordon to finish at the rim or maybe even shoot the three, which he's been known to do late in his career here, or you're gonna try to test Michael Porter, who is not the greatest on the road. But with the Nuggets, being at the crib for damn near a week, I mean, Joker could have went to Serbia and come back. Like, he's had so much time to cook up and rest up. It really could come down to Bruce Brown. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but it really could come down to Bruce Brown because he's been the Caleb Martin for the Heat. He's not been as needed, but he's had some really strong performances and has been that dynamic guy that's usually a role guy, a bench guy, but he's ascended. He's earned real minutes. KCP played well in the Lakers series, but in that Phoenix series, Bruce Brown really stepped up. Bruce Brown got into the head of D'Angelo Russell after game 1, and D'Lo was never the same, and now D'Lo probably is not going to be retained by the Lakers. Walk that man off the team. With one quote after game 1, he pretty much took all the confidence away from D'Angelo Russell. So Bruce Brown, he's a guy to watch here. He could be an X factor. But clearly, Joker is going to get his triple dubs. Jamal Murray is going to be able to go out there and contribute and give you 30 pieces and be a quiet 30 piece. A quiet 30 piece. Michael Porter, he's streaky. You're not really sure what you're going to get from him on a consistent basis, but he's a guy that's a big wing that has dynamic playmaking ability. So you see here, he can get you 10 boards. He can shoot the three. Not the greatest percentage, but he can shoot the three. And he can finish. And Aaron Gordon, who, Orlando, I'm sure Orlando thought when they drafted him that this might be the Aaron Gordon they were going to get, but that never materialized. But Aaron Gordon has developed a three ball. He can still hit the glass. He's become a wee bit of a playmaker. And he's still a guy that can get you 20 in this league. So the Denver Nuggets roster, the points per game that they could just put up, where they got 5 guys in double figures, and 3 guys in their starting lineup giving you 20 pieces, including one giving you a 30-piece triple dub. They just overwhelm you with stat filling. Overwhelming you with stat filling. So this is stat filling versus culture. I'm really not sure how Spo does it. I'm really not sure how Spo's planning on doing it. But, if you really want the realist prediction on how this is going to go, we got to go to Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons says he's rolling with Jimmy Butler and the Heat in the NBA Finals. This is the information you need to know. This is why you're tapped in to Timeline T. Micah Parsons is rolling with Jimmy Butler and the Heat. So let's go ahead and just throw out everything we just said because Micah Parsons knows ball. Another football player talking about basketball. Anyway. All right, so where do we want to go with this final stuff? So the finals go at 8:30 tonight. Here's another quick story. Lakers plan to match $100 million offer sheets on Austin Reeves. Yes, if you thought Jalen Brunson getting 100 M's was crazy, it's about to get even crazier. Austin Reeves getting 100 M's. And you see Bruce Brown's already talking. He's still talking about the Lakers. Says Nikola Jokic had Anthony Davis in shambles. I don't know. I don't know about all that, but it's a good highlight. It's a good thing to say. And it's just a lot of stuff about the NBA Finals. It's a lot of content that's being put out there. You know, Jay Williams is trying to get the click stuff going off. So I've never seen a man carry a team like this to the NBA Finals. Just ignoring LeBron carrying Boobie Gibson to the finals. Like, come on, dogs. Come on, dogs. Stop it. All right, some of this stuff we'll get to. Chris Broussard, if Nikola Jokic wins this championship, he's ahead of Kevin Garnett, probably Charles Barkley. If he wins, he's better than Dirk Nowitzki. That's something I already debated on this channel 3 weeks ago. Thank you, Chris Broussard. You're a little late on that. When Jokic's career is all said and done, he'll be ahead of Kevin Durant. So again, this is people that just want to be out there. They just want to be out there. They want to be able to say the thing. If Nikola Jokic wins this championship, he's ahead of Kevin Garnett. Now, Kevin Garnett only won one MVP, right? Probably Charles Barkley. Barkley only won one MVP and never won a championship. So Kevin Garnett's got an MVP and a ring. Barkley's got no ring but an MVP. If he wins, he's better than Dirk Nowitzki. I've already been there and done that on this channel. When Jokic's career is all said and done, he'll be ahead of Kevin Durant. That's the part that's a little bit of a stretch to me. That's where the reach... I mean, at least he landed a plane here. Landing with Kevin Durant is how you land a plane. Because you have to keep ascending. Kevin Garnett, all right, that's still good. Yeah, sure. Barkley, okay, yeah, I can understand that. Better than Dirk, debatable. Okay, I can see that. But now saying ahead of Kevin Durant, that's when he's fully jumping out the window. But that's how you do the art of the take. Good job by Chris Broussard getting the clickbait. And we got stuff from Aaron Gordon. Out of everybody that we've guarded in the playoffs, Jimmy could arguably be the most complete player. So again, Aaron Gordon, who has been known to give Jimmy fits. But he's now saying between LeBron and Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler the most complete player? That one's a little rough to me, but I understand you want to respect your opponent. Let's see. Jimmy Butler, Heat culture, more Heat culture. Jimmy Butler plans to retire as a Heat. I will not pronounce Heatle. That only was when LeBron and them were there. It'll be the last jersey that I'll wear. We'll see how that goes. He's got that max contract, so he'll be there for a minute anyway. And Caleb Martin, again, they're still talking about the Celtics. Bruce Brown is out here still talking about the Lakers, and Caleb Martin is still talking about the Celtics. On forcing Jaylen Brown to go left, that's always the game plan. And like I said the other day, that's been the scouting report on Jaylen Brown for the last 4 or 5 years. And Jimmy Butler giving props to D-Wade. I got to give a shout out to D-Wade. He always told me about this culture and how I fit here. I mean, again, Heat culture only works when they win. When they had, Hassan Whiteside and, who was the guard? Dion Waiters. Was it still Heat culture when they had Hassan Whiteside and Dion Waiters? Here's the thing that's interesting to me. Brian Windhurst says the Miami Heat make a lot of sense if Damian Lillard were to become available. We're already talking about offseason, and we ain't even tip off game 1 of the NBA Finals. Is it that much of a wrap for the Miami Heat that we're already trying to get Damian Lillard to Miami? Now let's see who they think can come back in that trade. Let's see who they think can come back on that trade. Let's see where we got here. All right, there we go. I think that's zoomed in enough. It feels strange to me to talk about a team in the NBA Finals like the Miami Heat, but the Miami Heat make a lot of sense. If Dame were to become available, they have a number of future first-round picks they can trade. They have a number of interesting young players. Now, when he says interesting young players, the only two that come to mind are Bam and Tyler Hero. Those are the only pieces that I feel are tradable for Damian Lillard. Because who else on this roster are you trying to get from the Miami Heat. And that's where I don't know if that young, interesting, like who is young and interesting? Like, it has to be Bam, who is starting to get to be not so young, by the way. And then Tyler Hero, who's battled injuries throughout his 3-year tenure. Outside of that, who else are you trading for? Who else do you want on this roster? But, it's all good. It's all good. But in regards to the NBA Finals, as I see Alexander has pulled up. What's up, Alexander? How are you? I know who you're riding with. Nuggets are way too well rested to lose to the Heat. I agree. I got the Nuggets in 5. I got the Nuggets in 5. I really don't see a way. I've been sitting here in the beginning part of the stream trying to figure out a way that Eric Spoelstra can cook up a strategy. And outside of, switching off of Nikola Jokic and not having Bam Adebayo guard him, maybe putting someone like Caleb Martin on him and then have Bam Adebayo come over weak side, a la what the Lakers tried to do and did have a modicum of success with, like Rui Hachimura and Anthony Davis coming off the weak side. That's the only thing I can think of, is maybe try to mimic what the Lakers tried to do. But ultimately, it didn't matter. And I think even if the Heat do put that together tonight, 8:30 Eastern, I don't think it's going to matter too much. If the Heat are going to get a game, it's tonight. Because just like Alexandria is saying, the Nuggets are way too well rested. I think that could be a thing where they're rusty. I don't believe it, but I think if there's a game that the Heat can steal, I think it's tonight. The fact that they're still riding high off the Game 7 blowout, Jimmy's had more treatment on that ankle. They now should be acclimated to the high altitude out there in the Rockies. Like, it should be okay. It should be okay for the Heat to steal one. They've been stealing game 1 every series. They got the Celtics in game 1. They got the Knicks in game 1. They got the Bucks in game 1. Can they continue it tonight by getting the Denver Nuggets in game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight? But yeah, I just don't see a scenario where that happens. I'm trying to navigate how the Heat win this series. I just don't see it. I mean, we already got stories about Damian Lillard coming to the Heat. So, I mean, it's already like this final seems to be a foregone conclusion, and we're already trying to move on to the offseason. So we'll see how that goes. But, unfortunately, I think the Nuggets take care of this in a rather quick fashion. If this thing goes to the end, if this thing goes 7 games, we're talking about this thing won't end until Juneteenth weekend. So that's about 2.5 weeks from now. So, we'll see how that goes. But, okay, we got Magic Man slotted in for the Heat. Okay, I think you're the only person ever since this thing got settled that is openly riding for the Heat. You're the only person so far. Everyone else has said Nuggets in 4, Nuggets in 5. So, okay, hey, I like that you're standing out there on that island. Hold firm on that island. Hold firm. All right, let's see what else we got. So let's move to some sports media. I won't say beef, but it's definitely some news, right? So your man Shannon Sharp is now no longer the host of Undisputed on FS1. He got a buyout, and he will leave Undisputed. So he is done with your man's Drip Bayless. So a lot's been made about it, and Shannon Sharp has liked the following tweet saying that Fox is making a mistake by keeping Skip Bayless over him. And if you go there, you see it, he's liking a few tweets actually talking about their relationship. So this is a real thing. Shannon Sharp is walking away from what I would believe to be a lucrative, financially, gig with FS1 and being the co-host of a show that, it's cable TV, so the ratings aren't really a thing in cable TV, but it certainly gets the pomp and circumstance, and there's clips that go viral online and so on and so forth. He was, able to leverage his celebrity and the cachet of being on that show to start a popular YouTube channel. His YouTube channel, I think, just crossed, is it 100,000 or 1 million? I forget how many subscribers he's got on here on YouTube, but, he has cashed out. And let's not forget that there's a lot of money in these streaming streets, okay? There's a lot of money here. Someone just walked away from a $120 million deal in Pat McAfee. FanDuel was paying him $30 million a year to do content for them, right? And still kept his YouTube, by the way. Is Shannon Sharp getting this buyout to go scoop up the bag that Pat McAfee left behind? It would make sense to me. He could do like the Shay Shay podcast. He could go do that with FanDuel. Why sit across from a dude that doesn't respect you and it's just all about trying to make clips go viral and embrace debate and the yelling and screaming hot take culture that he helped usher in? Why sit across from someone you clearly don't get along with when you could get, I'm going to guesstimate, at least triple the bread independently and work alone and have creative control? Sounds like a no-brainer to me. So if we see Shannon Sharp pull up on FanDuel, don't be surprised. I mean, he doesn't make this move if he doesn't have someone lined up already. You don't walk away from a gig, especially in the middle of the NBA Finals. You don't walk away from this type of gig with the bread that I would assume he's getting. I've heard some numbers, but I don't want to put that out there. You don't walk away from this type of gig without like, okay, I got this plan B in the tuck. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. You know what I'm saying? There's more tweets here that he's liking. It's interesting because there's a lot of money to be made. It's a lot of money to be made here. It's a lot of money. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that McAfee. Let's see. Yeah, it's the McAfee deal. McAfee is giving Pat McAfee, ESPN is giving Pat McAfee a 5-year deal worth about $85 million. So now, while you could think, well, we could do the math there, that's less money. That's way less money. That's like $17 million a year, roughly. 5 and 85. That's 1. 35 is 7. Yeah, 75, 35. Yeah. So $17 million a year when his prior deal was $30 million a year. So what's the issue there? Why would someone do that? Well, the reason why you take 13 less million per year and add on an additional year is, one, even though his audience is huge already, that he's built up independently and through doing College Game Day and WWE and all of that, he can even get a bigger audience just by being on the 4-letter network. They just have more people. They're on in more places. How many bars do you go into and they're streaming something on YouTube? I haven't been to too many that do that. How many barbershops do you go to? No, well, the barbershops usually have someone's laptop hooked up to the TV. Okay, so we'll let that rock. But your bars, your malls, your doctor's offices, you know, things of that nature, you're not getting someone streaming YouTube. You got someone with a satellite, with a cable box, and they normally have it on ESPN just by default. So McAfee wants to be in those doctor's offices. He wants to be in those bars. It's hard to do that on the FanDuel network that's on the app that you probably will be better off just getting straight from YouTube. So you're getting a bigger audience, you're getting a bigger brand awareness, name recognition, and you don't have to pay for all the production costs. Running your own production company and then doing a partnership with FanDuel, I'm pretty sure he was still having all the production costs mostly come from his end. Working with the 4-letter network and ESPN, now they get to do all the production costs because they're the worldwide leader. Your job is now just to show up and keep doing what you've been doing from a content creating perspective. You don't have to worry about the back end as much now, if at all, depending on the verbiage of the contract. So with him walking away with this deal to take $17 million per year, And then all of his guys behind the scene allegedly have their own separate deals with the Full Auto network. Whereas you would assume all those guys were coming out of this $120 million pie. Now with the 5 years, 17 mil, this 17 might be all McAfee. Whereas who knows how much of this cost was coming out. That 30 mil a year, he had to bust that down. So now if you're Shannon Sharpe, do you look at that 4-year 120 and you're like, yo, get me and Skip, let me get the hell away from Skip and go collect that bag McAfee just left. It's the same blueprint. He built himself up on FS1, much like McAfee built himself up on WWE, making appearances on every show imaginable and getting his name out there. Did his own show, independent, ran the numbers up, had viral moments, so on and so forth. Now he's cashing out and going to the worldwide leader. Shannon Sharpe was on CBS before. He's bounced around. He's been on a few networks doing content. Is it now time for Unc to go completely independent and really try to cash in? There's multiple ways to go about it. Build yourself independent, cash out with a network. Build yourself up with a network, cash out independently. There's a few ways to go about it if you really want to get to the nuts and bolts of it. I'll be locked in on it. Sports media shit, so you know I'm tapped in. All right, let's get to Monty. Your man's Monty. Monty Williams. Good Lord, the deal that Monty got. Let me make sure I got my tabs right. Let me make sure. It is an amazing amount of money given to him. Here we go. Monty Williams Pistons deal. It was originally reported by Shams Sarania last night. Monty Williams and the Detroit Pistons have agreed in principle on a 6-year, $72 million deal, right? With an update later that night that said Monty Williams' Piston deal could reach 8 years and $100 million based on team options and incentives. Now, again, team options and incentives, you know what that is? Funny money. But in theory, 8 years, $100 million for Monty Williams? Bruh. So now let's look at this deal. Let's look at this deal, right? Monty Williams' deal with the Pistons is worth $12 million per year. That deal ranks among the 10 highest paid U.S. coaches. Monty is the only one on this list without a championship on his resume. So let's go ahead and look at this. Belichick, annual salary. I thought Belichick doesn't allow his money to be known. We got to fact check that, but they're saying he's getting $20 million a year. Pete Carroll, 15, McVay, 14, Popovich, 13. So you haven't seen nothing egregious so far. Tomlin's up there, 12.5. Salute to him. The only coach of color on this list, by the way, Mike Tomlin. Andy Reid, $12 million. John Harbaugh, $12 million. Saban, 11.8. Dabo, 11.5. Kirby Smart, 11.3. Now, here's the thing with this Monty deal. Not only he'll be the second coach of color, but he would be the only basketball coach, college or pro, on this list. I mean, we got Popovich here, but he's an exec as well. Like, there's a lot of gray area with Pop. Yes, he coaches, and, you know, in the past, they've had GMs there, but Popovich also was an executive at one point. So Pop is there, but to me, I always imagine Pop to be an executive more so than a coach. But the fact that that's the only one, that he would be the only, and remember, Monty Williams was under Popovich. It's just a weird thing for me to see how this is going. This list doesn't make sense. There's a lot of football coaches here, and only one has more than one chip, and that's Belichick. Saban's got all the chips. We know that. But Dabo is there, and now Kirby, they got to update that. Kirby's got 2. So interesting to see how Monty Williams is now on this list. What is Detroit really trying to accomplish here? I don't understand how they can accomplish this. I don't understand the logic. I don't know what. I know what Monty's thinking, cash out. But in regards to what Detroit is trying to do, with this roster, you're going to pay a coach $12 million a year to figure out what the hell to do with Killian Hayes? Like, this roster is bereft of talent, bruh. Like, you have some pieces here, right, that you think you could do something. Obviously, Cade Cunningham. They made the trade in season for James Weissman, R.J. Hampton as well. Like, who are your building blocks here? Ivy, I like Ivan. Duran has been okay. But it's just a bad roster. So I don't know what Monty's going to do with this besides just wait for the checks to cash out. Wait for those $12 million checks to hit the direct deposit. There's not much more he can do besides that. But ultimately, I really don't know why the Pistons are making this big of an investment in Monty Williams. No shade to him. Take the money. But in terms of trying to navigate how to go about it, I really don't understand why you're doing that. Let's see if we can read something from Shams. Pistons front office decided to not take no for an answer, putting numbers in front of Monty Williams as a plan to entice him to come help with an up-and-coming squad get to the next level, just like he did with the Suns. I do not agree with that. I do not agree with them thinking that they're an up-and-coming roster, but let me see if I can navigate this here. Let me come off the screen and set this up. All right, let me get this window up. We're going to try to navigate this because I want to know what the thinking was by not only Monty, but the Pistons themselves. Like, Monty is just taking the bag, right? Just take the bag. Most likely your last bag, but you take the bag. But from the Pistons' perspective, why do you want Monty? All right, let's see. I believe this should work. Let me come across here. And then we'll drag this down. All right, cool. Let's see if this works. Yep, cool. Let's see. Oh, that's not how that goes. Okay, hang on. This is not right because I do have it. Or at least I have a workaround for the Athletic. Okay. I got to do it this way. Don't mind me. There's always a way. There's always a way behind the paywall. Okay. All right. See? Now we're back. Let's see. All right, here we go. Detroit saw Williams as the perfect fit for its team at this point in time. Weaver and Williams overlapped in Oklahoma City, and when the door opened for the Pistons to make a move, Gores, Weaver, and company put all of their chips into the middle of the table. During the initial conversations in which Williams told teams, including Detroit, that he was leaning toward taking the next season off, Phoenix owes him roughly $21 million over the next 3 years. He did mention that the Pistons, along with another team, would be a job he considered taking if he were to come back to the sideline next season. Per league sources, the heavy pursuit from the Pistons front office, along with a lucrative commitment and fondness for Detroit's young core, ultimately was too good for Williams to pass up. I think we could drop that last part, that young core. It's the lucrative commitment. They don't even mention who's on this roster. Oh, here we go. All right, the Pistons are in a similar position to that Suns team of 2019, coming off a tepid 17-win season, but with promising franchise building blocks in the likes of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and Isaiah Stewart. Wow, Isaiah Stewart they're putting in there, as well as a number 5 pick in this year's draft. Okay, so no mention of Weissman. Can't like that. No mention of Killian Hayes. We know why. I don't get it. I don't get it. Besides it just being a bag, I get it that it's a bag, but I just don't understand why you would do that if you are Monty Williams. Like, again, he was owed $7 million. He was going to get $7 million per year for the next 3 years to chill at home. And you're going to do all that just to get, I mean, he still gets that, but you're going to go back into the league, go back into the arms of the Pistons, Cade Cunningham. You're going to, dicey. Very, very dicey. Okay, where are we at here? All right. We'll go an hour today. I'm gonna get ready for the draft tonight. We got some things we got to do. All right, quick little news and notes. Report, nothing new here, but DeAndre Hopkins is interested in signing with the Texans, currently gauging multiple teams. So we got that, and there's an update to that. Just an editorial comment from Doe. CJ Stroud getting a wide receiver 1. Like DeAndre Hopkins just early into his career. Now, there's a lot of debate if DeAndre Hopkins is still a wide receiver 1, by the way. But getting a wide receiver 1 like DeAndre Hopkins this early into his career could be massive for his development. Currently, the closest thing the Texans have for a veteran number 1 option at wide receiver is 31-year-old Robert Woods, who averaged less than 10 yards a catch last season. Okay. That's a lot to decipher, but basically, D-Hop wants to go to a contender, but if he can't go to a contender, at least he wants to cash out one last time. Texans have the cap room. They have the availability, being that their only receiver worth for them is Robert Woods. So why not spin the block and go back to H-Town? Okay, so we have that. Kyrie Irving does not have a handshake agreement with the Dallas Mavericks on a 4-year max. This is per Mike Scotto, who is on USA Today. The reason why this is funny is because I believe a few weeks ago, let's see, Kyrie Irving handshake. Now, let's see if we can find it. Because there was tweets about a week or so ago that he does. See, here we go. And this is from a dude on Bleacher Report. Recently to discuss reporting about a potential handshake deal on a contract between the Dallas Mavericks and Kyrie Irving. So that was what? May 30th? So that was what, last week or so? So it took a week for someone to debunk the fact that Kyrie Irving does indeed not have a handshake agreement with the Dallas Mavericks on a 4-year max. Again, that's why it's just T. I don't confirm any of this stuff like it's like this is, word to God or anything like that. It's just, all right, dudes is saying this. Let's talk about it. This to me is very interesting. HBO has begun production on a new documentary about MLB legend Barry Bonds. The project includes producers from The Last Dance and OJ Made in America. So here's the interesting part about it. I don't know if y'all watched this, but the HBO doc on Willie Mays was dope. Very, very dope. Very, very enlightening. He was very transparent, right? But one of the best parts of the doc was them bringing in Barry Bonds. And we know how reclusive he is. We know how he treats the media, so on and so forth, during his career and certainly in his post-career. But I think this documentary here, if they could pull this off, and Barry's not confirmed to be a part of it as of yet, right? There's a great book by Jeff Pearlman on Barry Bonds. Like, it's hard to get the Barry Bonds story. It's hard to make that story be boring. There's so much there to the Barry Bonds story. I think he's one of the most under-talked about athletes of this generation, of this era. Like, 2 Hall of Fame careers in one. 2 elite, high-level Hall of Fame careers in one. I want this doc. They got people from The Last Dance and OJ Made in America, because there's definitely, if you saw the OJ Made in America, there were certainly some things you needed to discuss in regards to race, certainly in regards to gender, and a lot of that is also with Barry Bonds. So if they get into that bag and do a little bit of contrasting, that could be fire. That could be really, really fire. Scrub Zero in the house was good. Scrub Zero, yo man, you missed a good deal, man. I've been going in, did like a whole breakdown of how I think the finals are gonna go. Still got the Nuggets in 5. Get your chicken nuggets and fries in 5. Broke down Shannon Sharp skating on Drip Bayless, and I think there's a good chance he could go scoop up the bag that Pat McAfee walked away from with FanDuel. Talked about that. And then we just got done talking about Monty Williams, and how the hell can you pay Monty Williams $12 million a year? I'm just flabbergasted, but it is the Pistons. Who else were they going to get? Allegedly, they reached out to Kevin Ollie, but they weren't enthralled by that prospect. So they spun the block on Monty, and they offered him, he gave him an offer he could not refuse. It was some real Godfather shit. They gave Monty Williams an offer he could not refuse, and it's $12 million, and only Greg Popovich makes more money. It's amazing. There's a great chart here. Where is he? Do I still have that chart? Yep, still have that chart where you have all these coaches. Now, there's only one NBA coach on here. Although, to me, Popovich is more of an executive than a coach, but he still sits on the bench, so we'll let him get that. Monty Williams is now on this list, and he is also the only one on this list to never win a title. But yet he's up here making $12 million a year, which would put him above all the college coaches. Put him above Nick Saban, Dabo, and Kirby Smart. So that's where we're at with that. And here we go with Knicks tape. Allegedly, the New York Knicks are monitoring Joel Embiid's situation at Philadelphia. They've looked at that situation in Philly, and there's been a hope in New York that stuff in Philly will go haywire to the point where Embiid will ask out. And every time they do this story, they keep putting a photo of Joel Embiid and Julius Randle because they want you to think that Randle would be involved in a deal for Joel Embiid. If Daryl Morey is silly enough to accept a package for Joel Embiid that is centered around Julius Randle, I will laugh for 5 minutes straight. I will come on this microphone, not say a word, but just laugh into this Shure SM7B for 5 minutes straight. Script Zero, I personally wouldn't have offered that to Monty Williams, but good for him. Yeah, that's all of us can say. Yo, good for Monty, yo. Good for Monty. Salute to that man. But $12 million a year? I mean, if you got to pay me $12 million a year to deal with Killian Hayes, I guess it could be worse. $12 million a year to deal with Killian Hayes, I guess it could be worse. Scrub, I'm good on Embiid, man. Hey, look, he's available. Clearly, like, there's smoke here. Because, you know, sometimes teams come out and they just refute stuff. We haven't had Daryl Morey or any of his Philly minions refute anything. All we've heard is Nick Nurse is the coach. Fred VanVleet could be a backup option if the beard indeed goes back to Houston. We haven't heard any refuting of we are not moving Joel Embiid. So even though I think this would never happen for the Knicks, I do think that Joel Embiid could be moved. And at this point, probably should be moved. I think the window's closed. Even if they pull off a miracle and bring in Dame, if they somehow are able to get Dame to go with Joel Embiid, I think that window is still closed. And speaking of Dame, we talked about this briefly earlier in the stream, but Windhurst says Miami make a lot of sense if Dame were to become available. Let me take that word were to become. Damian Lillard is available. Has been available. It's just who got the pieces Portland wants. And again, Portland is still trying to talk themselves into thinking that they can build a championship contender around Damian Lillard. To me, that's idiotic. That's another window that's closed. Why don't these organizations understand when their window's closed? If I could sit here on this live stream and tell you that the Portland Trailblazers window is closed. How come the brain trust of the Portland Trailblazers don't get that? What, they're going to tell me, well, you don't know basketball? Well, I've known basketball enough to know that y'all should trade Damian Lillard and build around, Anthony Simons. Because Anthony Simons is more productive and more efficient right now than Dame Lillard. But, go off, sis. It's crazy. Keep the number 3 pick. Keep Anthony Simons. Keep Jeremy Grant. I guess you could keep Nurkic. You got Shandon Sharp. Keep him. And the number 3 pick. And whatever you get for Dame. And if you send him to the Heat, you're at least going to get Tyler Hero and maybe Bam. I mean, I think there's better places where you can get more pieces. But if it is the Heat, you should at least get Bam and Tyler Hero. So now you got Bam, Tyler Hero, Jeremy Grant, the number 3 pick, and Anthony Simons. That squad can go. On paper, that squad can go. Scrub, the process is finished. Not in the way Philly wanted, but that's how it be. Yeah, it's been done. Sam Hinkie and all of that, yeah, it's been done. It's been done. This, to me, is the funniest shit, though. Austin Reeves going to get $100 million. People were mad about Jalen Brunson getting $100 million last year. How are they going to react when Austin Reeves is signing for $100 million? Austin Reeves, bruh. He could receive $50 million over 4 years if the Lakers use his bird rights, and as much as $98.6 million from another team. The Lakers are going to match any contract offer sheet that he signs up to that $100 million. The Lakers view him as the 3rd best player on this team. If you look at the regular season and postseason he had. He stepped up big time, and he was basically an 18-5-5 guy with nearly 50-40-90 shooting splits as a starter for them. There were several factors as to why the Lakers made that second half run, but chief among them, and maybe the biggest factor overall, was Reeves' ascension. Now, I don't know how you can give Austin Reeves $100 million and Rui doesn't get the same. Because Rui is also restricted. I don't know how you pull that off. $100 million for Austin Reeves. If you're another team, you got to do that just to force the Lakers to do it. Eat up that cap space. Eat up that cap space. That's lunacy to me. Absolute lunacy that Austin Reeves could get $100 million. And here's a funny one to me. Peyton Pritchard has made it clear that he hopes to be traded this summer. I mean, he's a real point guard. Could he be the next Austin Reeves? Could he be the next? I don't know. We got Fred VanVleet. Like, I don't know. But as we know, everything is about the NBA Finals tonight and starting. And here's more hot taking. And of course, it comes from this show. More hot taking. Jay Williams says Jimmy Butler is harder to guard than LeBron and Kevin Durant. This year he is. There's no doubt about it. So, again, people are jumping out the window. We had a tweet from Chris Broussard that said that Joker, if he gets a ring, will end up being better in his career than Kevin Durant. There's a lot of shade that people are throwing Kevin Durant ever since he got knocked out in the second round. Where is that coming from? I find it interesting that people are now trying to get at Kevin Durant, where now we're saying Jimmy Butler is harder to guard than Kevin Durant. All right, so let me get this straight. Jimmy Butler who in the playoffs takes a step. We get that. But overall, is nowhere near in highly regardedly in Jimmy Butler is nowhere near as highly regarded as LeBron James and Kevin Durant. But now, with the playoff run he's had, because you're not saying this year, you're saying this playoff run. Because again, this year for Jimmy wasn't some ridiculous year. Jimmy wasn't in no MVP conversations. The Heat got in on the play-in. You're not telling me this year he shot 35% from three and he only took 2 threes, 1.5 threes a game. 14 shots a night. 23 a game. That's the highest of his, no, it's not even the highest of his career. This is what he is. He's a low 20s player, but then in the playoffs is different. He's 29. He was 27 last year. Like, the playoffs, he becomes a different dude. We get that. So what are you really basing that off of? Weird, man. Weird. He's harder to guard than a 38-year-old LeBron James with a bad leg and Kevin Durant, who was just coming off of an injury. Like, come on, man. People just be saying shit. And I normally rock with Jay Williams. But come on, dogs. Scrub Zero. Austin Reeves about to get a bag for being in the right place at the right time. Yeah, it's certainly looking like it. It's looking like it, man. Like 100 mil. But see, that's the thing, Scrub Zero. I don't think people understand when those next broadcast streaming rights come in, everybody gonna be getting 100 mil. Everybody gonna be getting like, we're now at the point where, all right, Jalen Brunson was not highly thought of in Dallas, right? They lowballed him even after his playoff success. They didn't want to give him 100 mil. Knicks tape pulled up, gave him 100 mil, and it was all she wrote. Now we're getting Austin Reeves, who was a fringe starter coming into this year. Like, we're talking about, and yes, they made all the trades and that opened the lane up for him to start, but I mean, Austin Reeves, 3rd year in the league, he's cashing out for 100 mil. Started 22 games, bruh. And yes, started in the playoffs, and as they mentioned, has some really good moments. But we're going to cash out someone who's 3rd year in the league. After 2 years in the league, we're giving someone 100 million. That lets you know where it's going. Everybody's going to be cashing out. Everybody is going to be cashing out. Scripts here. The media been mad at KD since he did what LeBron did, but better. So you mean like the player empowerment stuff? Did KD do it better? I think KD's been more blatant about doing it. LeBron still cloaks it in. These are his friends. Like, that's been LeBron's narrative. You know, he went down to Miami. D Wade was his boy. He went to Cleveland. He was going back home. Loves Kevin Love. Has a big bro, little bro relationship with Kyrie. Goes to the Lakers. Well, AD is clutch. Clutch is family. It's all good, right? So LeBron still cloaks his super team ups under the gaze of family. Whereas KD is ruthless. I'm going to the Dubs because I can't beat the Dubs, and I want to get some rings. Check. All right, yeah, Kyrie's my mans. I'm going to go run with him. Cool. Oh, yeah, James Harden's my mans as well. Might as well have him pull up too. Cool. Okay, this Brooklyn shit's not working. I fucks with D-Book. He's nice. Trade me over there. I want to hoop with him. Done. Like, KD has played the team up game better or more egregiously. I don't know if he's done it better. Man, it's just a wrap. Yesterday, he's getting it back. Yeah, Austin Reeves, he's 2 years in the league, cash out for 100 M's. Who else could do that? Where they played 3 years or 2 years and cash out for 100 M's? 100. Like, Jalen Brunson put in more years than that to get his 100. Jalen gave you 4 years, dog. Jalen gave you 4 years. Double the time to get his 100 M's. Interesting. Let's see how much more. All right, we did an hour. Okay. Obviously, we got some people late pulling up. We preview the NBA Finals. We talked about Shannon Sharpe potentially, now that he's officially said he's going to be walking away from Drip Bayless. Could Shannon Sharpe be trying to collect the bag that Pat McAfee just left with FanDuel? Is that where Unc is trying to spin the block on? Trying to scoop up that bread that McAfee left. Talked about that. We talked about Monty Williams getting paid 12 M's a year. He is now a top 10 highest paid coach in all sports. And he's the only one in the top 10 that's never won a championship. How the hell can the Detroit Pistons justify giving that type of money to Monty Williams? No shade to Monty. Take the bag. It's an offer he could not refuse. But they're paying you 12 mil to deal with Killian Hayes. Good luck. Let's see what else we got here. We'll cruise down the timeline one last time before we get up out of here, because we do want to get ready for the NBA Finals. I'm going to hop on here and on the CMD podcast after Game 1. So you can subscribe here if you want to catch the visuals, or you can be on the Elon app, aka Twitter, at the CMD or at the CMD podcast if you want to tap in there over there. But we will be doing a live stream after Game 1, so we could pull up and we could talk a lot of shit about what goes down tonight. Hopefully it'll be a good game. I'm hoping we don't get no blowouts. I mean, the Nuggets have had about a week, almost a week, over a week off. So they could be rusty. This could be the game that the Heat could sneak and steal. Scrub Zero got the Heat tonight, but do you have the Heat in the series? Right now, only Magic Man, aka Nets World, has the Heat for the series. So Scrub Zero, do you have the Heat tonight and in the series, or just tonight? A lot of us, it seems like on this channel, is going with Nuggets and 5. Nuggets and 5 seems to be the consensus. All right, yeah, there's not that much more going on. All right, we'll spin the block one last time on NBA Central. Nope. All right. So I would appreciate those who came in late while the stream is going on. You could definitely catch the replay. We get more intensive in regards to the NBA Finals. And what the hell is Eric Spoelstra going to cook up for Nikola Jokic tonight? There's a lot to navigate. There's a lot to figure out. I'm really not sure what he's going to do. Do you play zone? Do you play Bam Adebayo off of Nikola Jokic so he can be the weak side help defender like the Lakers tried to do with Anthony Davis, with Rui Hachimura guarding him as the primary defender? Is that something you try to replicate if you're the Heat? I really don't know, because the Heat don't have as many bodies as the Lakers did in the front court. Right now it's Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, and Max Strus. You really want Max Strus guarding Nikola Jokic in the paint tonight just to have Bam be the weak side help? I don't know if that's worth it. But I think the key, if you're Eric Spoelstra, is you have to try to take away one of the things Nikola Jokic does. You can't take away all of them. There's no man birthed alive yet that is able to do that. So if this man is a walking triple-double, the most impactful part of his triple-doubles is always the assist. So if I can stop him from being a point center and just let him just bully ball in the paint, like having Max Strus be the primary defender, then that limits his opportunities to be a playmaker. So maybe you force his hand that way. I'd rather do it like remember in the Phoenix series, he was putting up 50 piece triple dubs, but they lost. I think if you're the Heat, that's the only type of game plan you can really try to run is like, yo, just let him go crazy in the paint by putting somebody small on him and then hope Murray doesn't go crazy. We're going to lock in on Murray, lock in on Aaron Gordon, lock in on Michael Porter. I think that's the only way that, the Heat could pull this off. But let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this on a replay, let me know in the comments, how the hell can the Heat pull this off? Okay, Script Zero saying, nah, I got the Nuggets for the series. Okay, all of us right now still is just Nets World, a.k.a. Magic Man, riding with the Miami Heat. Everyone that's pulled up has pulled up and said, nope, Nuggets in 4, Nuggets in 5. No one's pushed it past 6 yet. It's always been Nuggets in 4 and Nuggets in 5. Are we still sleeping on the Heat again? And where would this rank if the Heat pull this off? Is this the most miraculous run to a chip in NBA Finals history? Like, I'm trying to think, who would have a more wacky and top-tier run? Because you're looking at going through Giannis, and yes, Giannis missed 2 games, but in theory still went through Giannis. The Knicks didn't really have nobody. But technically, they were the higher seed, so people would assume they're the better team. You go through the Celtics, who had the more talented team, and then you go through the Nuggets, who have a 2-time MVP, and you could argue should have been a 3-time MVP, who now some people are saying is the best player in the world. What other NBA fight? Let's look up. I'll do this before I wrap up out of here. Let's get the champions in. Who's been that? Let's see. That will be interesting. Nah, the Warriors, that run wasn't that crazy. The Bucks, was that run crazy? No. Lakers in the bubble, no. Raptors? Was that Raptor run crazy? All right, so you beat Steph, Clay, KD, and the habitual nut hitter, even though we know Clay and KD got hurt. You beat Giannis. You beat the process. And nah. You had to beat Orlando in the first round. Nah, can't count them. Nope. Let's see. The Cavs with LeBron, when they came back from 3-1, they beat Steph and Clay, with Steph was an MVP. Nah, they beat the Raptors. That's not impressive. And the Hawks. Yeah, nah, that's not. And nah. That first Warriors one? They beat the Beard. They beat the Memphis. Nah. Yo, dogs, I really don't know when's the last time there's an as impressive run if the Heat could pull this off. Maybe the Spurs. Yeah, maybe the Spurs. They beat Braun, Wade, and Bosh in 5. They beat Russie and KD in 6. They beat Dame in 5. and then they beat Dirk in 7. But they were a high seed, no? Yeah, they won 60 games. Like, we need a team that didn't win a lot of regular season games and made an improbable run and actually won the championship. That's the thing. You got to win the championship. There's been a lot of teams that have made improbable runs, but I need you to win the whole damn thing. Let's see. Where can we find that list of champions? I just need a list of champions. Seasons. Okay, yeah, let's see. Champion. All right, yeah, maybe this will help. What's the unexpected? Yo, there's really not any unsuspected. The Pistons. Yo, it might be some 70s shit, like when the Supersonics won back in the day with Lenny Wilkins. Script 0, and you have to make Joker score. I'm not letting him get his teammates in rhythm with his playmaking. Yeah, I think that's the only way, Scrub. I think that's the only way. I really think that's the only way. So let's see. I'm really not seeing a team that has an improbable run. If the Heat pull this off, I'm really not seeing it, dog. Yeah, the Supersonics, but they had a good regular season. I mean, that was before my time, but I've been told about it enough. Yeah, this might be the most improbable run ever, dog. To win a chip, if they could pull this off, the Miami Heat pull this off, I don't think there's a comparison for what they've been able to accomplish. If they went through Giannis, even though Giannis only played 3 of the 5 games. They went through the Knicks. The Knicks were not that great, but technically they were the favorite, and they had a better record in the regular season. Then they go through the Celtics, who were the number 2 seed and almost won 60 games. And then you go through the Denver Nuggets, who have the better team on paper, and they won. And you have Joker, who is, arguably the best player in the world and is a 2-time MVP, and you could argue should have been a 3-time MVP. And 3 in a row, by the way. So, I don't know, dog. If the Heat pull this off, and again, I don't think they will. But we have all slept on the Heat. We've all slept on the Heat. And we could say, yeah, I knew the Heat was good. I knew Jimmy was good. Heat culture, all that stuff. But you didn't think they were going to do this. I defy anyone to pull up receipts from before the playoffs start and say, yo, I got the Heat making it out the East. Like, come on, dogs. AB in the chat was good. Salute. Man, it's just going to be really interesting, bro. I don't know how this gets down. I don't know how this goes, but I think ultimately, I still think it's Denver in 5. I really just don't see. Spo would really impress me with what he cooks up if it's not going to be either a zone or doing what the Lakers try to do by playing someone other than their primary big defender, which in this case would be Bam, on the weak side and having him help. So you let Max Strus be the sacrificial lamb and start off primary on Joker, and then you have Adebayo come over weak side and trap and double. And you're doubling like on the catch. You're not waiting for a Joker to dribble. It has to be a fast double team. Now again, he can still play make from that position, but you're hoping because he sees Max Strus, he's just bully balling. And you let him get a 50-piece triple dub like he did against Phoenix, and that was a game that they lost. Because if you try to put Bam Adebayo straight up, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's a lot of matchup problems for the Heat in this series, even outside of just Joker, because Aaron Gordon historically has done well against Jimmy Butler. And he played well against LeBron, and he played well against Kevin Durant before that. So Aaron Gordon could be a guy that you unleash and watch him wreak havoc and make Jimmy work. Not to say that Jimmy's not going to get his. He's going to get his. But he's going to have to work for it. I don't see Gabe Vincent killing. I don't see Caleb Martin killing. Like, I just don't see a scenario of how the Heat get this off. AB saying it's going to be a chess match. We'll see. I think Joker is going to make this checkers. I don't know if it's going to be chess. Joker going to make this shit checkers, bruh. But let's see. Do we have any sound today? Let's see. Do we have any sound? Mike Malone. See if Mike Malone, he won't say he's doing anything, but let's see. Okay. Oh. Jokic talking about Tim Duncan. Let's see what this is about. Let me pull this up, get the sound right. I'm interested in hearing Joker speak on Tim Duncan. Let's see. Let's see what type of time he's on. Pop that up. Nikola Jokic talking about comparisons to Tim Duncan.
Melissa?
Hey, Nicola. Coach keeps comparing you to Tim Duncan and your unselfishness. How much did you look up to Tim when you were growing up? And did you actually pinpoint that selfishness and say, hey, I want to model my game after that?
Yeah, model my game, probably, yes. Probably he's one of the best power forward players that play the game. And he did with such a ease and, you know, it's really. I remember when he played against me. He was a little bit older, but he still gave me the easiest 20 points I ever in life probably. He always had a counter. He was so patient and. I think he's a great player to look up to and to model your game to him.
All right, so we got a little something from him there. Let's see if we got any other stuff that's pretty good here. McGrady talking about it. Can't play that copyright. Can't play that copyright. Can't play that copyright. Look at the Sixers introducing Nick Nurse. The new Scamadum Dea. Daryl Morey. The new Scamadum Dea. Nick Nurse. Good luck. Oh, we got Nick Nurse talking about Embiid. Is he going to talk about how he's going to run Embiid's knees into the ground? Because he's the next. Nick Nurse is a baby meniscus tear taskmaster Tom Thibodeau. Let's hear him talking about Joel Embiid.
Joel has a lot of attributes. First of all, defensively, very, very good, right? And then offensively, he's very, very skilled. And again, it's a little bit early, but I think that once it starts and it starts unfolding and we start learning each other and all those kind of things, we're just going to try to max it out, right? Whatever that means. I can't sit here and tell you tactically what that means today, but
yeah, because Nick Nurse doesn't really run offensive sets. That's why he can't tell you.
We're gonna certainly try to put him in situations where he's gonna be super dominant. Joel.
Okay, Nick Nurse ain't really saying too much. Let's see. Talk about the playoffs. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear that. All right, Woj talking. There's a lot of copyright stuff can't play. All right. Mike Malone hyping up the team. Perk trying to go viral. Man, it's a lot of copyright stuff it can't play. All right. Yeah, so this is what it is like right here. So you're trying to stop Nikola Jokic, right? But then you also have Jamal Murray, the first player to average 30 points on 50-40-90 shooting in the conference final. Like, come on, dogs. Like, and I know there was a stipulation that people were bringing up that Steph also did this, but there was a stipulation of why he didn't. I don't really care about it. But, bruh. Joe Mazzulla will be back as head coach of the Boston Celtics, according to Brad Stevens, the boy genius, who was hired by the... Let's see what else we got. Okay, so this is echoing a lot of what we spoke about like no more than 10 minutes ago. If Spoelstra is able to pull this off, even if he doesn't, I think he's trending towards a top 5 greatest coach in history. Sure. And we talked about that already. yeah, it's a lot of this stuff. Reggie Jackson. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Schmurder is on Denver. Schmurder is on Denver. All right, so someone asked him, it sounded like it was a bad question. Someone asked him if he's the best player on the Nuggets or the best player in the league. Okay, let's find out. It's very weird wording.
I've asked you through the years about being the best player on this team, and you've always resisted that label even through the MVP years. I was curious if you feel like being the best player in a superstar league, if that matters in basketball, or if you feel like it doesn't matter because of how you look at the game, being the best player.
I'm confused.
Do you feel you're the best player on the Nuggets?
But it's hard to say because sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, and I'm cool with that, and I think everybody else are good with that. So, I think the way how we play, everybody can step up and everybody can be a best player.
This is probably going to be the worst part of this NBA Finals is that you're not going to get nothing from Jokic. You're not going to get nothing pregame or postgame from Jokic.
The ball is in my hands a lot, so I make a lot of decisions. So, but I don't know, can I be the best player?
I've asked you.
All right, so yeah, that's probably going to be the worst part. Jimmy updating us on that ankle.
How's your ankle? You injured it against the Knicks and you tweaked it a little bit in Game 7. Are you 100% or are you close to 100%? Or is that a look that tells me you're going to lie right now?
No, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say that nobody cares. You don't either. And I'm still expected to do my job at a high level if I take it forward, which I will. We're going to be okay. We're going to get the job done, bum ankle or not. I'm not taking a follow-up, so don't do that.
All right, so we'll leave on that note because I don't think we're going to get too much pre or post game, but I will be pulling up here live stream after Game 1. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you can be notified that when I do go live after the game. So be ready for that. Also be streaming on the Elon app, aka Twitter, if you're following me over there. So it's a few ways to be a part of the stream, be a part of the broadcast. So feel free to pull up. I want it so it could be an interactive experience. So the chat will be live here on YouTube. Twitter doesn't really have that. Not really sure why they don't have that, but we'll see if we can figure that out. But so if you want to be interactive, that'll be more of a YouTube experience. If you just want to tap in just to watch along with the visuals, that'll be more of a Twitter experience. And don't worry, working on the Discord so we can eliminate all of that. And we can all be in one spot together, the Twitter fam and the YouTube fam, and we can all link and build. So working on that heavily behind the scenes, getting really close to being able to put something together there. We'll see if we're able to do that in time before the end of the finals. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But as always, I appreciate those who are able to pull up. There is a new video on the channel talking about Tom Brady, even though he was ducking the smoke today, saying, no, I'm not coming back. There was real reporting done saying that he's trying to run the same scam he ran with the Dolphins that ended up getting the Dolphins, fined and draft picks taken away for tampering and all that stuff. Brady's trying to run the same scam again with the Las Vegas Raiders. There is a video live on the channel that just dropped not that long ago. Tap into that. If you missed that from yesterday's stream, I'll probably chop up something from today's stream, put that out tomorrow. That's how we do it here. But I'll see some of y'all tonight. And if not, I'll catch the rest of y'all on tomorrow's Timeline T, 4 p.m. So I am the Sam D, Sam Dusemay Jr. I'm out.